Welcome to Enlightened World Network. Dr. Ruth Anderson here with a very special 2024 new month forecast with our very favorite numerologist, Michele Landers. Michele, thank you for being here. I know there's a great deal to unpack today as we close 2023 and say hello to 2024.
There is. Yeah. Thank you, Ruth. And I just want to say Happy New Year to you and everyone at EWN. And, the work that you do is so beautiful. So God bless you and EWN and everybody who is there helping to raise the energy and the vibration of this world, which we need. So, as I was talking briefly with Ruth before this forecast, before this Zoom, I don't know why I'm losing the words right now. It's been a lot, but at any rate, there's a lot going on here. And so we're going to take it bit by bit, a little bit about numerology, a little bit about astrology, and the big news, okay? So we can expect 2024 to be, well, big, eventful. But I first want to touch upon, let's just talk about the energy of January, which alone, that's very, very interesting. So January by itself is the number one, and the number one has the energy of independence, new beginnings, go, 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 which is so appropriate for the number one and so appropriate for January, the beginning of the year. So, but in order to get the universal energy or the universal vibration of January, of course, what we have to do and what we do every month is we have to add the 1 to 2024. Now, 2024 added together is 8. And to get the universal energy of January, we have to add the 1 of January to the number 8. So what do we get there? We get the number 9. So we have a number of energies working, in some respects, working together, and in some respects, kind of pulling us. So we have new beginnings, but we also have that 9 energy. So the 1 energy is enthusiastic and let's get going, let's pull this together, let's get started. And then we have the 9 energy, and in numerology the numbers all go from 1 to 9. Anything over 9 is always reduced to a single digit except the master numbers. So what is the 9 saying? The 9 saying, okay, hold on a minute, before you go headstrong into this month and this year, let's take a breath. Let's think about, and this is really important, let's think about what things, and perhaps some people already started to do this in December, and I applaud you if you have. Think about what things, what beliefs, what do you want to leave behind? What do you want to let go of? And what do you want to keep in this brand new year? Because what we also have is a very powerful, and the reason, besides the fact that it's an 8 year, so we have this incredibly powerful 8 year, which is urging us to what? Think big, step out of the box, let go of fear, confidently move forward, embrace success, embrace achievement. But first, we have to allow the energy of January and the number 9, again, to reflect upon and recognize what do we need to release in our lives. And it's also important for us to think about what, if anything, what are the things did you learn from this past year? So personally, my takeaway was, well, I think I can do everything. So I tend to say yes to almost everything. And by the end of the year, I have to tell you, I was really spent. So I'm not going into this new year with the mindset, I can do it all. And that might sound to some people, well, wait, isn't that, if you If you don't tell yourself I can do it all, isn't that negative? No, not at all. You have to know, again, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we have to honor that humanness. At times, we really do have to acknowledge that. So I also learned that there are a lot of things I can let go of that I don't ever need. Now, some of you know that I spend part-time in Central Florida, part-time in South Florida, and I learned I don't have to keep moving so much stuff every time. So I really encourage everyone to do a review. Overall, it can be a very emotional month, punctuated with these light bulb moments of clarity and new ideas, along with evaluation of the things that you don't want to carry into the new year. And I know that a friend of mine also the other day, she just said to me, I had this big revelation. And so that is kind of the theme. It's eye-opening revelations, but also this feeling of a little bit of confusion. And I also want to mention, individually, everyone has their own personal months and their personal year numbers. However, the universal number of the year and the universal month number does affect us all to one degree or another. That's why there's so much going on all the time and so much happening in our lives. And I would expect, considering the 8-year, I would expect that whatever personal year number you're in for 2024, whatever your themes, 2024 is going to enlarge those energies. And we might have another conversation about that, how that's being affected. And I also, as a side note, want to mention that Terry Angel and I are doing a vision board workshop on January 20th, which is a very appropriate day, which I'm going to address in a few moments. And within that workshop, I'll be giving everyone just a brief description of their personal year aspects for 2024. So anyway, to get back to the energy of the month, I really think that many people are feeling a little antsy, so to speak. There's this feeling of, I'm not sure about things. I'm feeling a little bit like what's going on. And I get that. I know that I am. And I feel like there is also a sense of heightened emotional reactions because this month has an overlay of, at times, intense emotions, drama, but the other side of it is a lot of creativity and a lot of humanitarian aspects. More people getting out there thinking this year, I want to help others. I want to be of support. I want to do something positive for the greater good. So it's a very creative month. It's also has these humanitarian aspects, but it also can be a dramatic. It's a month that can cause, as I said, a little bit of confusion, conflict between the energy of that 9, which is endings and eliminate and reevaluate. And again, the 8 energy is saying, you got to get going. This is a big year and we're out of the gate. It's like a horse, the horse is just ready and just wanting to waiting for that gate to open so they can run. So the number 9 is a number of completion, reflect on the past, tie up loose ends, prepare for new beginnings, release what no longer serves you, make space, be aware and alert to new opportunities and growth, and power surges. It's a powerful cycle of preparing for the very, very transformational energy of this new year. So I always talk about the tarot, and in the tarot, the 9th card is the Hermit. And the Hermit usually appears when we're at this pivotal point, this pivotal moment, and taking a new direction. So I see the Hermit as perfectly aligned for January, and with this idea of going inward despite the powerful 8 energy of the year. So it's might be a bit of a slow start as things start to fall in place. Now, some of the really good aspects astrologically is Mercury goes direct, and that is probably tomorrow. And it's going to be direct till the 22nd. And around the 20th, 21st, 22nd, that's when some other shifts, powerful shifts, which I'll talk about in a few moments, are going to occur. So when that happens, you can expect, like if you've had any delays with things or, things you were waiting for, that they'll usually clear up when Mercury goes direct. Jupiter goes direct just before, it just went direct, I believe, just before this new year. And Uranus is going direct at the end of the month. And we like that. More planets are getting along. So by the end of the month, though, there can be some intensity with what I was talking about with this Pluto and Aquarius thing. But for the most part, it's a month of the planets generally getting along. And of course, this month is dominated by Capricorn. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. And it looks like Saturn is actually in a good mood because the energy of Saturn is traditionally known as the taskmaster. He's the one who says, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to get done. And Capricorn is very structured as well. So it gives you they get along though with one another. So it's that energy of you can get things done. But the energy is also about father figures. Now, what does that mean? Does it literally mean about father figures? In some cases, it may, a predominance, but it is a predominance of that father energy. So what does father traditionally mean to most people? And to most of us, what does a father figure represent? It's authority. It's the sternness. There's this control. And that I'm not saying that anybody's father is necessarily like that. I'm just giving you the energy, there's feminine energy, there's masculine energy, there's mother energy, there's father energy. So there's a very strong father energy. So I would think it's also nose to the grindstone, getting things done. So with that father energy, there's bound to be some things popping up about authority in your world, personally, and in the world at large. Okay, so on the 4th, that's a really, really, really good day to create a plan of action, or at least start fleshing it out. 4 is a good number for laying a foundation or for structure. And on the 4th, besides the fact that the planetary alignments are good for that, the number 4, and that day happens to resonate to the numerological 4, it's a really good day, so maybe you want to mark that on your calendar. On the 9th, okay, so on the 9th, a lot of astrologers feel that it's kind of a cautionary day. Mercury is squaring Neptune. That energy can be illusionary, meaning things are not what they seem to be. Watch out for scams. It's not like the best day in the world for any type of transportation. There could be delays, there could be issues and problems. It's really not a one size fits all day, but it is aligned with the numerology of the day too. So that's why I think, kind of be cautious on that day. And sometimes this energy could be a day before that day and a day after. So But another good part of that day can be that while you're sitting there kind of sorting things out and thinking about things, it could be a day that you come with solutions to older problems. You might come to an awareness of, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. That's such a good idea. So it's such a mixed bag of energies going on. And now on the 11th of January, it's an illuminating day. It's a new moon in Capricorn. We just might hear some good news around that time about the economy, innovative something or other. And it is another day that is about structure, creating structure. I don't know how that would fit in anybody's life with illuminating, but you might come up with an idea again about structure and structures. So structure metaphorically, or structure getting your life in order, but structures as far as actual physical buildings. So the 20th and the 21st, the sun goes into Aquarius. Yay, that's my birthday month. But that's not the big news. That is my birthday. And it's not the revolutionary news that the sun is going into Aquarius. But for me, when I was doing this, it was like I could picture a sign dropping down from the heavens and a horn, Gabriel's horn blaring the announcement, Pluto goes into Aquarius. That's the big, big news. And it's about catapulting us into the new world. Now, mind you, that this transit is going to last about 20 years, but I kind of separated it out because I wanted to focus on it and give people an overview of how important this transit is. But at any rate, that's the 20th. And I'm thrilled that Terry and I picked the 20th for the workshop. I thought that was kismet. So it's very good aspects for that day. But before I talk about Pluto and Aquarius, I want to finish up January and talk about that. So on the 25th, we have a full wolf moon in Leo, which that can be, Leo can be excessive, they're just big and out there. So that full moon is full of emotion and I want to be seen. And it could be drama, behind the scenes, things going on, secrets, maybe secrets are revealed, or maybe there are things that are going on in your own life that you want to keep secretive. So, and the 25 is a 7. And the 7 goes along with this like secretive energy. The 7 likes to observe. So that is another day that's kind of full of emotion and energy. On the 29th, and if you add 2 and 9 together, you get 11. But astrologically as well, we can hear maybe some news about maybe stabilizing news about the economy, harmony, some conflict might right around that time, because 11 is so powerful, takes a turn. A lot of energy in creating new things and finding the truth. So overall, the month of January is full of stops and starts, highs and lows. And what I also want to mention, which is really important, people are probably going to have a lot of, we're opening up more and more. And I think that more people are going to be having visions. On one hand, if you want to step into the higher spiritual realms, and if it's not visions, then it's ideas. And a lot of people globally are working, especially this year, with their wounds. So that's kind of the energy for the month, which I'm sorry if it sounds very confusing, but it is. It's an up and down month. A lot of good energy and a lot of emotional energy. So you just want to be aware of that and work with it. And before you know it, once the 20th hits, we'll talk about that. So I just want to mention that, 2023 was a more of an inward type of energy. It was a very sensitive year. It was kind of weird energy, very spiritual. Not that every year doesn't have the spiritual aspects, but I always like to point out in numerology, and I think this goes for astrology as well. I guess there's a quote in the Bible, there's a time to reap and there's a time to sow. And there are times when some years are saying, okay, this is a year you really, really have to go inward more than, don't push anything. Don't push after money or material things. It's not that you don't work. It's not that you don't do your daily chores or your job. That's not what it means. It means you got to put your focus on the spiritual and get really clear about what's important in your life and big decisions as well. And sometimes those big decisions have to do with the very material world we live in. And some other decisions have to do with our, spiritual life and how we want to grow. And why is that in a 7-year? Because the 8-year is coming this year, and pow, it says you better be ready, because now you have to step out and up. So you can expect 2024 to be a year on steroids and karmic backlashes. Big business. 8 is very karmic. Struggles for power. There's going to be a lot of pushing and pulling and struggling. And it's like everybody's vying for attention. Listen to me, hear me, watch me. It's really intense. And it's an all in or all out kind of energy. We can expect mergers, pairing up of large companies, creating these superpowers. And since 8 is a power number, I think globally, there's going to be a focus on global leaders and power struggles. And I know that to one degree or another, we're experiencing that now, but I just think things will get wilder and louder. So I don't know how it's going to roll out, but it seems that somehow and somewhere there is going to be a change in leadership. Now it's all about authority, who has control, and guess what? That's very fitting energy for this year, because in the US, we have a president election looming. And what is that going to look like? All right. So what is it going to look like for you to wield your own power this year and not to have fear? I just thought I would mention that I am not numerologically, I was kind of on the fence about this, but I'm going to mention it because astrologers are saying that we possibly will see a public downfall of a well-known figure, maybe more than one, and those who haven't acted with honesty or authenticity. This is a year that they could expect their day of reckoning, because integrity is a big word this year, and karma is a big word this year. And of course, that's not just for people in the public eye, that's for all of us personally. 8 says, yeah, you can have abundance, you can create this big life for yourself, but there's no nasty little shortcuts. You have to act with integrity at all times. The other part of the 8 is suggesting that if you do experience abundance, that it is also your karmic responsibility to share that. To what degree, that's up to you, but definitely donate or do some charity work. That this is a wonderful year for that, and it helps kind of to build up our spiritual points. I don't know, but that sounds good. That sounds good. So here are a few keywords connected to the 8 energy. It's leadership, power, balance, money, abundance, the economy, and okay, so I know what I was thinking. Your bank account, to add to your spiritual bank account. That's what I meant. So the number 8, interestingly enough, if you turn it on its side, it's a number of infinity. There's no escaping that shape. Things coming back. So we can experience some things coming back. It also has to do with karma, things coming back. So the good that you've put in, and perhaps the not so good that you might have put in, they tend to come back to you, the consequences of that, in an 8 year. It's hard work, but big rewards for that work. It's Saturn. It gives rewards for your hard work. It's make goals, get organized, have realistic goals. 8 doesn't tolerate pie in the sky ideas, but it does support concrete goals, something that you've wanted to do and that you're being very structured about putting those ideas into some kind of concrete form. So be tenacious, be focused, be committed. And again, I will say, have faith in yourself. Be positive, have faith, have confidence. So overall, the 8 represents power, rulership, material aspects, achievement, justice, everything that I had previously mentioned, the spiritual understanding of power and money. And this is a big thing. There's nothing inherently wrong with money. And a lot of people who are in the spiritual, very heavily invested in their spiritual journey, have some conflict with money, getting paid for what they do in the spiritual arena, whatever that is, and thinking about, well, money, I don't know, that's not very spiritual. Listen, everything is spiritual. And it's just an exchange of energy. We've just decided that our exchange of energy happens to be paper money, which might be going away anyway. So that's another aspect of what's beginning to change in this world. It's big business. It's executive abilities. So we're going to be asked to call on that part of us that is strong and capable and is very focused on things to create things in our lives that we really want. This is the time. It's authority. Now, here's another little interesting thing about the 8 that I thought I would just throw in there. 8 also corresponds in numerology to the letter H. And H in numerology, among a few other letters, also is related to pregnancy and giving birth. So I'm thinking there might be a rise in pregnancies or birth this year, but I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. It also has to do with real estate and moving. So it corresponds to the planet Saturn, which I talked about, fate and karma. The day of the week, this is just little ancillary information for people who, want to know about numerology. The day of the week that the 8 corresponds to is Saturday. the element of 8 is earth. Again, this is a very feet on the ground or boots on the ground year and number. It's the 8th card of the tarot. And what's the 8th card of the tarot? It's strength. And the strength card depicts a woman holding a lion's mouth open. And so she's obviously very strong, but she's doing it gently. So that's the harmonious combination of strength, but also this peaceful kind of strength. It's not an angry strength. It's not I'm gonna mow you down and get my way kind of strength. It's a strength of that is being fed by your self-confidence, by your tenaciousness, and by your focus. There's even a musical note that corresponds to the 8, and that's high C. And it's interesting because certain notes cause certain reactions, emotional reactions in people. And that's something that I would also suggest to people they investigate a little bit, because music has such a healing effect on us. And you might want to find out what notes make you feel or elevate, make your feelings, like you feel good, you feel elevated from certain music. And I think that's a very interesting thing to look into. What are the notes, or what notes are in that musical, those lyrics of that song? That is it C's, are it B's, is it B sharp, is it, it's interesting to know that. So it's an extremely powerful energy, and it will bring about abundance and advances, strength. But of course, what is the flip side? The flip side is, if you're not working with integrity, 8 can be a very fast moving number of loss of power, loss of prestige, misuse of power and money. That can really, the backlash of that can be swift. Ruthlessness, manipulation, materialism. Just remember that everything is magnified in an 8 year. And the 8 year reminds us of the adage, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So don't be afraid of the energy of the 8 and embracing this plane that you live on, because it can be fun at times. It really can. And we can have wonderful experiences on this earthly plane. So it's very much connected, as I said, to the earthly plane. It's fast moving. It's a very physical number, by the way. I know a lot of athletes have the number 8 besides the number 5, because a lot of people associate the 5 with the very physical number, which it is, but so is 8. So it's fast moving, eventful, dynamic energy. And when we look at the supporting numbers, the combination of the energies, and I love this, it's the number 2. We have, 2024. So the 2 corresponds to the feminine. And that's so women will continue to be more influential. I really like that. More women speaking up and speaking out. What else about that? Oh, the feminine energy in general likes harmony and cooperation, and that is the energy of the 2. But we also have the number 4, which represents foundations, work, home, real estate. And I do think the real estate market is definitely going to be better this year. I would really be surprised if it's not. I think there's a real balancing coming with that. 8 is also considered a time of harvest. And again, I guess I will say this a number of times, it's a karmic year. So in numerology, it's pretty much understood that often what shows up in your 8th year are the consequences of actions that were taken or decisions that were made years before. Now, look, the caveat here, I have to say, in my opinion, that's pretty much happening all the time. What you put out there is coming back, and sometimes it can be swifter than other times. I mean, karmic can be instantaneous, or it could take years. But let's just say it's more likely to happen in an 8-year or even a 4-year, because most of them are very karmic, but the 8-year is double the 4 square. So both numbers have a very, very direct connection to karma. Number 8, again, is also very strongly connected to finances. So globally, there's going to be a focus on the economy. We're already seeing that. I think for the most part, I think for us, it's going to, and when I say us, I mean US, it's going to be a good year. I'm certainly not a financial advisor, but I will say it looks like a good year for the stock market, great year for tech industries, massive advances in engineering, ideas, cybernetics, technology and business advancements are really, really common under the influence of the 8th, and big advancements, but especially in the biotech fields. I think medicines, medical treatments, robotic surgery, incredible advances. Now, as an aside, this is really so interesting. I was chatting with my financial guy, and he mentioned, we were just talking about some stocks and changing some things. And he said, Michelle, I'm really feeling positive about biotech stocks the coming year. And I said, stop. I said, seriously? And he said, yeah. And I said, wow, well, that's so interesting, because that's exactly what the stars and numbers are saying. So I don't know have you consulted anybody but me about this? And he said, he just started laughing. And I said, okay, so that kind of reinforced for me that probably, the astrology and numerology are correct about the biotech field. At any rate, careers in the tech industries, winner, winner, winner. So more talk publicly or behind the scenes, talk about the future of CBDC, which those are just the initials for central bank digital currency. So we're moving towards that. I don't believe that's going to happen this year, but I do believe that we're kind of headed towards that. And that Pluto in Aquarius is going to be a huge shakeup in a lot of areas. And I still have to talk about that, and I will. The other important aspect of the number 8 is about finding balance. So there will undoubtedly be this striving for balance, both on the global scale and individually. And what I started to mention before, I have some friends who recently mentioned about having some revelations, and they also mention the word balance, like they're having this wake-up call that they want to have more balance in their lives, more fun work balance. This is a really, really transformative year. And I think many people are going to be feeling that, it's like, what is this all about? I need to have more balance in my life. So numerologically, astrologically, powerful year. Another interesting and coincidental note And I really, honestly, just love how they all fit in like a puzzle. This is also the Chinese year of the wood dragon. Now, that doesn't kick in until February, but it's still for the better part of the year, it's going to be in effect. Now, wood is earth, growth, trees. And it's about the symbology of the dragon. Dragons, driven, ambitious, determined. And dragons are linked to strength, good fortune, leadership. And the dragon is different than all the other animals because they can fly. Now, that's another interesting piece. I just have to laugh because we are moving towards flying vehicles. Not this year, I don't believe at all, but that's where we're going towards. And I think there's going to be a lot of work on that and advances, and we might hear about the future of it. So it's really amazing how this energy, all these different energies fit perfectly together. And again, it's a really transformative year. So let's take a look back though. The last year that the wood dragon made an appearance was 60 years ago. And that was in 1964. So that was the year that the Beatles came to America. So what does that mean? Well, they had a huge impact on the music culture. And it was also when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was signed. The Soviets launched Voskhod or something one into the Earth's orbit. And that was the first space flight to carry more than one person, and the first without the use of space suits, which was an important step for mankind, for all of us to start really exploring the universe. So I wanted to talk also, excuse me again, about the weather. And okay, so a lot of this has to do with the 8, but I have to defer to this one psychic who I really liked, Debbie Briggs. And she really kind of, well, she didn't kind of, she talked about, she had a lot to say about the weather. And I have to say that the weather patterns, and I use them in quotes because there really hasn't been any actual patterns to follow anymore the past few years. It's still kind of an out of control, out of bounds energy with the weather. And that means we're going to continue to experience earthquakes in, all over, honestly. Alaska, California, the northwestern states, Japan, probably India, probably Mexico, the Philippines, Australia, even something going on in Northwest Canada, hurricanes making landfall, tornadoes, flooding. Now, as a side note, Debbie Briggs, I did not do his chart, but she seems to think that something's going to happen to Putin. So I'm just throwing that out there. Who knows? But I just thought I would. So I want to talk about the big news of Pluto in Aquarius and why this is so important. Okay. So in my head, I heard, because I like to cook, right? And in kitchens, you will hear the expression when a number of the same orders are coming up in a restaurant, yes, chef, no chef, and it's all day, like grilled cheese sandwiches all day. So this sounds crazy, but I associated that with Pluto in Aquarius because Pluto in Aquarius, the big news is Pluto in Aquarius all day, every day. It's that powerful. The sun enters Aquarius, and then 12 hours later, Pluto enters Aquarius on the 21st. Now, why is this such a big deal? This is intense. What I know about Pluto is that it works behind the scenes slowly, then it erupts during specific moments while going in and out of retrogrades or making certain aspects to other planets. So a lot may be happening that at the moment we might not really see it right away, or we could. It can bring about a turnover in command, a changeover in agendas or direction, but things come out with this transit. And this energy is going to bring massive amounts of galactic downloads to people all over the world. So be prepared for that. So if you're feeling a little bit out of your body, it's because you probably are a little bit out of your body and you're getting all these galactic downloads. It is without a doubt one of the most transformative energies. So think about this, okay? The last time Pluto was in Aquarius, and I realize that, there certainly are other aspects surrounding it, but this is a powerful one. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius was at the end of the 18th century, when all over the world, people were challenging authority. And those two words are going to be uppermost this year, challenging authority. So that's when the French citizens, they incited the French Revolution and the removal of, let's get rid of the ruling class. And what followed was the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen, and that was 1789 to 1799. And before that, 1532 to 1553, when Pluto was in Aquarius, it brought about the Reformation. Now, we've been experiencing Pluto in Capricorn since 2008. And you all remember what happened in 2008, I'm sure. That was the housing bubble that burst, and it was one of the worst financial crises America's ever faced. We've certainly had our share of upheaval since then, but Pluto is the proverbial breakdown to break through. But now, and this is what's so important, Pluto in Aquarius is going to be around for a good part of this year to give us a taste of what we can expect. It had a brief stay last year. This year it's going to be around, I think, until September. Then I forgot how long it's going to be back in Capricorn. It won't be that long though, but it's going to go back into Aquarius. And it's going to stay in Aquarius, drum roll please, until 2044. It is full force then ahead for the next 20 years. So what can we expect with that long-term transit? Well, fasten your seatbelts, because the first thing that comes to mind, and this is really wonderful, is power to the people. That's what Aquarius is about. Everybody's welcome. Everybody come along. Nobody's excluded. So what are the themes of Pluto in Aquarius? Social justice, alternative healing, space travel, outer space, aliens, AI, again, biotech, and anything that is revolutionary. Again, I want to emphasize this is a long-term transit. So not everything is going to happen at once, but you can bet, you can put money on the fact that we are on the road to massive world changes and power to the people. And I really can't stress that enough. Pluto in Aquarius says this is what needs to be done, and it will bring what needs to be done on a global level. Lots of different ideas are going to pop up. It's a back to the future type of energy. And, you know, a lot of the things that we saw in movies and films and read about are actually probably going to take place during, you know, anything futuristic during this Pluto in Aquarius transit. Supercomputers, again, the biotech field, massive advances in engineering and ideas, things that we create to move the world forward with cybernetics. And along with that, guess what? Because everybody's going to be scrambling, we're going to need new laws that'll pop up and regulations having to do with this new technology, especially with AI. You know, AI may be replacing teachers. It's the quantum era, the digital field, massive changes in robotics. And we're laying the groundwork for things that are going to end in 2025, but that is another story. And I guess we'll talk about that next year. But A1 involvement, again, in teaching, in self-driving vehicles, internet computer systems, cryptocurrencies, science, space, flying vehicles, quantum, electromagnetic waves, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. Now, on the other end of this wonderful spectrum, because nothing is ever one-sided and nothing is ever all rosy, it can bring things to an extreme. It can bring to light many of the abuses, which I guess this could be a good thing, taking place all over the world. It will bring to the surface, you know, criminal activities, some sudden shocking events, a lot of eccentricities, and that brings to mind for me Elon Musk, some things that he'll come up with. So all in all, it is a collective awakening. But again, this Pluto in Aquarius is going to be working over 20 years. We will definitely see some surprising things happening this year, but it's over a long term. A year on steroids, fast moving, eventful, dynamic, very physical, chaotic at times. But just know, even with this chaotic energy, it is so important to be connected to your center. And what does that mean? It means, gosh, it means feeling confident. You know, there seems to be in many places this word competition and how we measure up to someone else. And that really has to stop, because we, as best as possible, I mean, it's difficult because we're human beings, but we have to claim our power, know our strengths. It's not egotistical to honor your talents and your abilities, not at all, because we have these talents and abilities, not just for us, to share. That's the point of having a gift, having a talent. It's not for us to covet, it's for us to share. So it means feeling confident, stepping into your power, both emotionally and mentally, to be focused, stop the criticisms of yourself. You know, we do this to ourselves. We criticize ourselves, we judge other people, we judge ourselves. So as much as possible, become much more focused on your internal self, your energy, your positive qualities, and how you can step into your power this year and bring about change in how you see the world, how you see yourself, how you see others, and bring all your gifts forward so you can not only be the very best you, but you can share those beautiful gifts with others. So that's pretty much it for the month and the year. It's a lot. Oh, I think I have to go take a nap.
It is a lot. It absolutely is a lot. Thank you so very much. One of the things that I just kept coming up, two things. One is if you're not grounded, get grounded, that you don't need to follow the emotional and energetic roller coaster that's coming your way. And I think really important, at least for me, that I don't get caught up in the emotional roller coaster of it all. And then the other piece too, live your life as if karma is real. And how does that change your conversations with folks? How does it change how you spend your time? So, two very important key points for me in moving forward, Michele.
That's very those are great points. Really. Yes, yes. At all times, be mindful, be grounded, be mindful that at every moment you're creating karma. Every moment you are. So very, very good advice. Thank you for adding. You always add great stuff to whatever the energies are. You come up with these things that you see, that you kind of read between the lines. So thank you for that. And that's your gift, one of your gifts for sure, besides bringing people together, is being able to distill from the things that I present and others present some really wise suggestions. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, here's another wise suggestion, friends. Michele Landers is masterful at working one-on-one with folks. And she does offer where she will do people's charts and then have conversations with folks about that. So, Michele, if somebody's interested in working with you one-on-one, how do they find you? How do they reach out to you?
Sure. And thank you for that, Ruth. Go to my website, michelelanders.com, and that's Michele with one L. And you can either order your chart, or, you know, what I'd like to do with any potential client, I offer a free 15 to 20-minute consult. So we could have a little chat about what your needs are, what you're feeling, where you're at, and maybe you need a numerology chart, maybe you need coaching, maybe you need both. But it's free and we can kind of hash things out, so, and get to know one another. And I love doing that. So please definitely do that. And if you want to sign up for my newsletter, you will get, I forgot what the free gift is, but it has something to do with numbers. I know that. And, but sign up for the newsletter, because I'm going to have more information about the vision board workshop, which is going to be powerful. Again, I will be talking with everybody briefly about their personal year coming up. And we're going to do some esoteric cord cutting. And that is a very important part of this year, to disconnect from the attachment we have to things and people that are not supporting us and that are not helping us grow. You know, the codependency is something that we're going to look at. And again, cutting those esoteric cords. So it'll be a good workshop. But again, sign up for the newsletter and you'll get information about that. So and thank you.
Yeah, they're excellent newsletters as well.
Thank you.
So friends, thank you for being here. Thank you, Michele, for this amazing opportunity to have several years with you doing this month to month. I so appreciate it. Yeah, friends, take good care. God bless. We'll be walking through the year with you. So please keep coming back to Enlightened World Network. So take good care, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Namaste.